Over 3 months ago, I asked the question, is Skull and Bones worth $70? Spoilers for those of you that didn't watch the video. No, Skull and Bones is not worth $70, and it was definitely not worth $100. That price was way too high, especially for a game that was supposedly quadruple A and in development for the past decade now. However, if we fast forward 3 months later, the game has been heavily discounted, currently at 50% off. It is $35 US at the recording of this video. Plus, there has been a 1-week free access where you could play the full game as much as you wanted to for that limited time of 1 week, May 30th through June 6th. Play with your friends, fight powerful enemies, reap valuable rewards, and just like with the beta as well as that 8-hour trial period, you would be able to keep the progress you made if you decide to purchase the full game. Short answer is yes. I think that this game is now worth the price. Plus, Season 2 of Skull and Bones has already begun, the Chorus of Havoc, and there's 2 more seasons planned on the roadmap for Year 1 of Skull and Bones, so there's more content coming down the road. So, with all this said, is Skull and Bones now worth $35 US? After spending many hours over the past few days playing through Skull and Bones, I'm going to give a controversial answer, but I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and say yes. In the video from a few months ago, I said that the price for Skull and Bones should have been between $30 and $40 US. So for all the hours that I've put into this game, from the beta to the 8-hour trial period, which I maxed out, and now over the past few days during free access for a week, I would say, yeah, Skull and Bones is at the right price point for $35 US. It's a shame that this is not the price point that it was at launch. It would have made reviews a lot more favorable and a lot more people interested in the game. But I guess better late than never, I suppose, right, Ubisoft? Some people might disagree with me and believe that the $35 asking price is still too high. And of course, you have a right to that opinion. I'm curious about what you think the price for Skull and Bones should be below in the comment section, especially for anyone that has also played the game, whether it was during the beta, the 8-hour trial period, or this 1-week free access that is going on at the recording of the video. Feel free and let me know below in the comments section. I think one of the reasons why I started enjoying Skull and Bones is I began judging this game for what it is, not what we wanted it to be. When it was first announced in 2017, we were very excited because we thought we were finally going to get an online version of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Truth is, that's what most of us still want to this day. But that's not the game we ended up getting. We got maybe half of that game. All the more reason why Skull and Bones should not have been $70 US, especially since there's a smuggler's pass and there's a store and microtransactions, just like with most live service games, especially by Ubisoft. There's obviously other ways that they can make money off the game besides making it $70 to $100 US, which was a major turnoff for a lot of people. So what is Skull and Bones, for anyone that has not played it? It's a pirate ship game. You're a pirate, you get to customize your character, you start off in a small boat, you can eventually get blueprints and materials to craft and get larger vessels, better ships, and upgrade those ships all the way up to a brigantine. With your ships, you can sail around the world exploring, as well as doing ship versus ship combat, whether it's PvE or in some cases PvP. If you wish to do PvP, it's not forced on the player. They actually have to make the choice to do PvP combat. But if you have no interest in PvP in Skull and Bones, most of it is catered around a PvE experience. Along with ship combat, there's plundering of settlements you can do for rewards, along with forts. Fair warning, forts are extremely tough. When you're not fighting ships, settlements, forts, or sea monsters, You can sail around the world, discovering many different locations, as well as outposts, which you definitely want to find because it'll make fast traveling around the world of Skull and Bones way easier. While you're in your ship sailing around, there's also going to be a lot of looting for you to do, harvesting of wood, metal, fruit trees, getting ammunition, commodities to sell, chests and bags of silver because that's the main currency in the game you'll be using, finding treasure maps, and more. And yes, there's definitely a lot of blueprints, crafting, finding materials, and upgrading in Skull and Bones. At the Carpenter, various tools that you'll need, such as the crowbar, spyglass, hunting spear, and more. Crafting as well as upgrading ships can be done at the shipwright, upgrades for weapons and armor for your ships at the blacksmith, and refining materials that you collect, which you need obviously for crafting new ships, tools, weapons, etc., like wood, metal, fiber, can all be done at the refinery. But there is more to Skull and Bones than just crafting and upgrading. There's also, story. It's not the best story, but at least there's missions, like the main story missions, as well as various side quests you can do. And if you do progress far enough into the main story of Skull and Bones, the helm becomes available for you to be part of. It's basically rum runners and opium runners. So you're going to go out collecting or stealing or buying sugar cane and poppies in order for your various operations to make rum and opium for you to sell for the pieces of 8, the other currency in the game. And there's at least 2 or 3 other currencies besides silver. But the pieces of 8 will allow you to buy particular items through the black market at the helm. Then you have all the world events. Some of them are PvP, like the Cutthroat Cargo Hunt, for those of you into the PvP aspect of Skull and Bones. Then you have a lot of co-op stuff going on with the convoys. You can do bounties. You can go after some sea monsters like a Megalodon and a Tylosaurus. Hopefully they'll add more sea monsters down the road in future seasons of Skull and Bones. You can sell solo. You can end up helping out other players randomly. And you can also sell around in your own fleet of friends with 2 or 3 players, each one with their own ship, which in my opinion is the most fun in Skull and Bones that you can have. Going into plunders or having these, ship-to-ship combats with you and 1 or 2 friends, your ships versus the enemy ships, and then blasting the enemy apart and then looting and plundering to your heart's content. This game is definitely a lot more fun with 2 or 3 players. The good news is there is going to be at least 2 more seasons of Skull and Bones. So season 3 and season 4 coming up later on this year. I think going into spring 2025. So there is more content on the way. But the big question is, will there actually be a year or 2 for Skull and Bones as well as future seasons? To be honest, I really don't know at this point. Despite the fact I'm enjoying the game, I know that the majority of people have no interest in Skull and Bones, and they're not willing to give it a chance, even though there has been a free 8-hour trial period, as well as this 1-week free access period for the game. And the truth is, Skull and Bones is not really a game for everyone, especially people that wanted a fully realized online version of Black Flag, because it's missing that other aspect of being a pirate, of going on to shore and all the islands, not just select outposts and dens, and being able to have swashbuckling adventures with swords and guns against PvE enemies and other players. It's a good thing that Sea of Thieves is now on PS5, which looks like it has a very bright future going forward. Unfortunately, I really can't say the same for Skull and Bones. And that's what's tragic, because I am a pirate enjoyer. From Pirates of the Caribbean to Sea of Thieves to now Skull and Bones, I do enjoy both these games. And it's a shame that Skull and Bones didn't have that something extra that it needed in order to make it a true bona fide success. But it's far from the worst online live service game ever. The original price point was way too high, along with our expectations, because it's understandable that the majority of us loved Black Flag and we just wanted an online version of that game, which unfortunately we did not get. So regarding the future of Skull and Bones? Does it survive to year 2? That depends on the game sales that happen so far, and maybe there'll be a few more because of this free 1-week access and the discount to $35 US. It does make it a lot more appealing than $70 US. And it also depends on microtransaction sales and the whales that happen to be swimming about in Skull and Bones, along with the overall player count. So if the player count does end up going up a little bit or a lot from the free access and the deep discount, if the player count for Skull and Bones continues to go up thanks to the free 1-week access, as well as continued live service and the deep discount down to $35 US, then I could foresee Ubisoft continuing to support Skull and Bones with future seasons post seasons 3 and 4. Obviously, they owe investors some money as well as the Singapore government, so they definitely at the very least want to turn some sort of profit for a decade-long development that is Skull and Bones. If it ultimately does turn out to be profitable and is continuing to make money through the microtransactions, as well as a player base that doesn't end up diving deep down into Davy Jones's locker, there is a possibility that Skull and Bones might just survive past season 4. But whether or not there is a year 2 of Skull and Bones on the horizon, we'll just have to wait and see. Is Skull and Bones worth $35 to you? Are you simply waiting for it to be a free-to-play game for a month on PlayStation Plus that you can pick up? Or are you simply going to wait till Ubisoft decides to make this a straight-up free-to-plus game, relying solely on the microtransactions as well as the Smuggler's Pass? Thoughts, views, opinions, welcome, as always, below in the comments section.